It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. All these things are, it's fine. I get most of my emails from people who are, just in the thick of their breakup. And, I've been there. I know exactly how it feels. You just, there's this like, you can't sleep properly, waking up just too early, or can't sleep at all, can't eat properly. It's basically it's basically withdrawal. Okay, you're going through a really brutal withdrawal. You feel like it's, there's no point to anything anymore. But I just want what I have noticed else is that people, there's this kind of resistance to it, almost like you shouldn't be going through this. I shouldn't be feeling this. Why am I feeling, you know, this? It's okay. It's natural. You've gone through something really traumatic. Your mind has been fused with someone for God knows how long. Some people, got an email from someone who's like been just broke up with out of a 7-year relationship, and you know, as I've said in one of my other videos, like the longer you spend next to anyone, even if your relationship is with Adolf Hitler or someone really bad, you're gonna grow roots into this person, and there's gonna be this bond. And then when it's broken, your roots are severed, it's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna hurt forever. Okay, your roots are going to heal with time, whether you want it to or not. You're going to heal. Um, it's just in what shape are you going to heal? Let me tell you something, okay? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Elon Musk. He's the guy who is running Tesla. Also, Steve Jobs. Those are two of the greatest minds, of our modern world. And both of those people have been through severe depression, like long periods of depression, where Steve Jobs has had some serious loss, family losses, and business, and he went away. He went away, traveled, just went away from everything. I think for like a year at least. And same with Elon Musk. And look, it's not just limited to those two, but I'm naming those two because those are two of, you could argue, the best. Some of the best, that humanity has to offer. In short, what you're going through right now is going to make you great. I'm not saying that you have to, overcome your depression, your sadness, your anger. I'm not saying you have to overcome it all to become the greatest version of yourself that you've ever been. No. I'm saying that you are going to become. It's going to happen. Whether you believe me or not, whether you believe it or not, it's going to happen. Because if you look at almost all the greatest people have gone through this. And you can't expect that you're going to go through life without going through something as difficult as this. Because this is a part of life. And it's actually one of the most important parts of life. Because it's going to make you stronger than ever before, wiser, more patient, more loving, more passionate than ever before. Don't be afraid. Like some of my fears were like, I'm never going to love anyone again like this. I'm going to lose that passion, that fire inside me. I felt like I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. It's just nonsense, and when you're in the thick of it, it doesn't seem like nonsense at all. It seems so true because you're basically being controlled by a starving animal, just like a heroin addict. And that starving animal is this part of your brain that believes that your ex is responsible for giving you life, is the one that's giving you life. And I mean, now that I'm out of all of that, I can really look back and be like, wow, that's just crazy, like how I was thinking all of that stuff. But when I do remember where I was, I can also understand like the feelings. Like all I was thinking of was her, just like constantly, and just wanted to write her. I was going hiking and I wanted to write her name like on posts and stuff, like that I still love her, and it it's just crazy, because but I understand it. I think it's just a natural thing because your body, your mind is trying to say, go back to this person. This person is, all about family, and you're gonna reproduce with this person, etc., etc. But it's fine. Don't worry, okay? Like you have to just give yourself time, and you have to have faith, and you have to trust. Going back to the point of this video is that it's okay to be depressed. It's okay. Allow yourself to be depressed. And I tell you, look, it's going to be difficult because for me, I found it difficult to find people that would stick around long enough. Like most of my friends and even my family, they'd get tired of hearing about this. So I recommend, finding someone who's going through something similar to you, whether it's through people on this who write in the comments section of these videos, or I found a really great friend through a website called loveshack.org, where you can go on and talk about your breakup and exchange stories. Find someone who's going through something similar, because that way they're not going to get sick of you, you're not going to get sick of them, and you're going to both support each other, and the number one support you want to do is to help support each other not to think of your ex too much. Okay, because that's the root of all your problems. All of the problems associated with a hard breakup is that when you're sitting there thinking about your ex, like what I did wrong, will she ever come back, what do I have to do? And this is why journaling is so important. Without journaling, I think I would still be, maybe a year behind. Like it accelerates everything so much, because what it does is it helps you to see what's going on in your mind. So the first step of journaling, that what I was taught, is you want to write down your thoughts, okay? Especially, and it's going to be negative thoughts mostly. So for me, it was like, my ex never loved me, my ex used me, or I will never find anyone like her again, or I wonder if she's ever thinking of me. Things like that. Write them down. And then what you want to do is you want to have a little column that says, does this thought help me? And it's going to be guaranteed to be a no for most of your thoughts. And then what you want to do is, underneath each negative thoughts, write down 3 counter arguments. These are critical. These have to be positive. They have to come from an energized and positive stance. Thoughts like, I don't need anyone else to be happy. Like, happiness comes from within me. All I need to be happy comes from within me. So you want to have that strong, independent, energized, self-loving voice to respond to those negative thoughts. And that's the voice, and that's the part of your mind that you want to start to exercise more. It's shrunk down, and it's kind of small, and you've got that other big part, which is the heroin addict that just doesn't care about anything, just wants your ex back. The heroin addict of your mind is just going to slowly die. It's like exercise. The more you exercise it with thoughts of your ex, the longer it will take to die. But it's going to die. It will eventually die. It's just that you can prolong its death by thinking of your ex, by not letting go, by exercising it. But it's like anything. Like if you don't exercise, it's going to quickly go away. It's like if I don't do exercise for a month and I just eat pizza, I'm going to lose it very quickly. And it's the same. That part of your mind needs exercise. And if you just stop giving it exercise, it's going to become weaker. And instead, try to exercise, like I said, the positive side of your mind. And if you journal, you'll get to see what's going on in your mind. It's like an analysis of oh, this is what's happening in my mind. And you'll be surprised. Well, I was surprised to see that there isn't actually that much negative thoughts going on. It's just maybe about 7 or 8 thoughts that are kind of happening in different ways. And once you learn like what are really good counter arguments, like at first your counter arguments may not be amazing, but after like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or a month, you're going to come up with awesome arguments to those negative thoughts. And then the key is like after a few months, you're not going to need to write them down anymore. When the negative thoughts, when you catch them, when you become aware of them, you can just immediately yourself in your head respond with what you would have normally journaled. And then another really important, hugely important thing to journal every morning, but more importantly before you go to bed, is 3 things that you're grateful for. So you want to, again, exercise that part of your mind that's like positive, that's energized, that's able to stand independently, that loves itself and finds everything, a source of happiness and energy within yourself, not from someone else. Okay, not dependent. It's a strong voice, and this will help to strengthen it as well. This is like push-ups for that part of your brain, and it's basically every morning, every night, write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Alright, and I like to start the sentence off with, I'm so grateful and so thankful for, and then I'll go into like having a roof over my head every night when I go to sleep, or being a healthy human and not having a disease, or whatever, it can be anything. Alright, the more the merrier, it doesn't have to be 3. I do like maybe 15 every morning, and like I just do tons before I go to bed. I do a list. So that's really very good for exercising the strong part of your mind. Above all, the most important thing is awareness, because being aware of what's going on in your mind is not easy. Most of us are just going to wind up being taken for a ride with thoughts, and then 10 minutes later we'll be like, God damn, I've just been spending the last 10 minutes thinking about my ex, daydreaming. Alright, so, but it's okay, when you catch it, even if it's 10 minutes later, that's awareness. Then you just want to exercise your awareness so that you can catch those streams of thoughts sooner and sooner. And I'm not perfect. Like now, for me, like it might take me, and immediately I'll be able to like see thoughts that are happening, or it might take me maybe a minute, and then I'll be like, oh, I just spent the last minute riding on my moped, thinking thoughts that are negative, and then. Look, people out there, I hope this is all making sense, because think about it. Most humans are constantly thinking negative thoughts all day long. So imagine like what that does to your mind. That's why people have anxiety constantly, depression constantly. And I'm going to wrap this up with going back to the title of the video. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to have anxiety. When I was going through this, I couldn't breathe for maybe 6 months, 7 months. I couldn't. Like, breathing was like, I couldn't breathe. So I'm grateful that I can breathe now, so I can take deep breaths. And journaling is great because you can go back and see the progress you've made. You can see like, oh man, like I'm way better than where I was 6 months ago. I'm way better than where I was 2 months ago. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be angry. But here's the thing. Don't dwell on it. Because remember, what you do, what state you're in, what your thoughts you're thinking, you're exercising a certain part of your brain. So you don't want to be exercising the negative part of your brain too much. Having said that, it's very important to go through this process, and that means being depressed, it means being sad, being angry, expressing it, letting it out. That's all this called the scab. When you cut yourself and the scab starts to build, that's the depression that you're feeling during a breakup or loss. The anger, that's the scab. It's fine. It's natural. A lot of people, what happens is when they go through something like this, divorce or breakup or whatever, they will hide it with, like, let's say, excessive work or excessive gym work, going to sports. They'll become crazy into like going to the gym, or crazy about their work, or they'll go out and they'll be partying like crazy, or they'll start like rebound dating like crazy, whatever it is. And for a lot of people, they can wind up becoming dependent on whatever they're replacing their ex with, like whether it's sport or work. They can become dependent on that for the rest of their life. You don't want that to happen either. So you've got to go through this process. Don't run away from it, because you're going to have to face it someday, and might as well face it now. It's going to feel really like, oh, I don't want to face it now. I'm the only one in the world going through this. Everybody else is moving forward and I'm stuck. No. Remember Steve Jobs, remember Elon Musk, and almost all the greatest people out there. Remember them, because they all decided they did this the right way. They said, I'm going to just immerse myself. I'm going to let this happen. Let it all out. It's fine. And then one final tip is I want you guys to create your own Bible for yourself. And what I mean by that is like a book or journal for me that's got all your best tips to remember. So for example, if you're going through like the worst, lonely, intense, depressed feelings, I want you to have a list ready to look at. I have one that's going to help you out of it. At the top of my list it says, this is not going to last forever. And it's not even going to last a day. Most of the time it's just going to be just maybe a few hours or a day, and then you're going to feel better. So you need things on this list that are going to, like a survival guide. Alright? I have mine, everyone's going to have their own custom tailored. And post things around your room, things that work for you, like, be grateful, whatever it is. The greatest people I've ever seen, they do this. Like the greatest athletes, they'll have them around their house, like just things, like winning is a habit, or that's just one for the fighting. But a lot of fighters, they'll just have them around their house. I know Dr. Wayne Dyer, I'm not a huge follower of his, but he has them all around his house. And not just him. I mean, there's tons of people successful people that have these things. Just little sayings, little notes all around, like in their bathroom, in their kitchen, just so that you can see them and constantly be reminded. Do it, okay? This is your opportunity to just blossom now. So don't be afraid of it, okay? Yes, it feels like death. It feels like dread. But remember, death, on the other side of death is rebirth. Always. That's how nature works. If you haven't been taught this, then please learn it now. On the other side of death, on the other side of the end, is always a beginning. It's always birth. Alright? And the transition in between is just, we're afraid. We're afraid to go from one point to something new. And it's natural. It's okay. Tell yourself it's okay. But step forward and go into it. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be angry. Those are all fine. Be depressed. Be sad. Cry. But don't dwell on it too much. Take steps forward. Move forward into what the universe is giving you. God, I sound like a hippie, right, when I say universe. But walk forward into the new birth that is coming into your life. Take it, accept it. It's awesome. You're going to be so happy, believe me. If anyone would give me money now to go back to my ex, I wouldn't take it. And she's now the one chasing me. Alright? And I was the one begging her at first. You're just going to realize that it's just going back in the past. You don't want to, and you're just not going to want that, believe me. You're going to want this amazing, beautiful future, So visualize your future, rewind this video and make notes of all the best bits that you thought were good, and sending everybody out there all the best. Alright? We got this. We just got to move forward. It's going to hurt. It's fine. You're going to be okay. It's going to heal. The cut's going to heal, whether you want it or not. It's going to heal, and whether you like it or not, you're going to become way greater than you've ever been. It's just going to happen. Alright.